Hello, hello, hello. I'm still catching up a bit from my week off in Vegas, and apparently, while I was away, there's still a lot of chatter online about the Magic being involved in possible trade talks. That's right, we're still talking trades. This is the Orlando Magic Nation, your source for all things Orlando Magic on YouTube. For Orlando Magic fans, by an Orlando Magic fan. I just want to say thank you very much for clicking on this video and spending a little bit of time talking Magic with me. Click subscribe so you can join the Orlando Magic Nation and keep up to date with all Orlando Magic news. And while you're clicking around, click the like button because it really helps the channel grow by getting it in front of more people. Lastly, this doesn't have to be one way. Drop a comment down below in the comments on, do you think any of these trades should go through? What other trades would you be willing to have the Magic do? So please just go down there, feel free, put anything on there. So let's get started. The first trade that I saw online being talked about was with the Lakers. There's a couple different versions. But basically on the Lakers side, they all revolve around Dalton Knecht. But for the Magic, one of them is more for Goga Pataze. Obviously, Goga is on a pretty good contract. He's got this upcoming year and 1 year after that at a pretty reasonable number for both things. And for a win now team like the Lakers, which we're also a win now team, so I'm not entirely sure why we would do any of these trades. It really is helpful for them, especially to build on having some more depth in their big man room because they ended up getting DeAndre Ayton, so that was the big splashy deal that they got, and that just kind of fell on in their laps. So they're still since the beginning of the offseason, I know they've been talking with the Magic regarding Goga, and the Magic have a history with the Lakers, having obviously lost Shaq to them, but also doing trades with them when we traded Dwight to them. So at least it seems that we have the two franchises have a relationship in that respect. But if you read this part of the article, the again they got Aiton, but again they're looking more for Goga. The insider talks about how again Dalton Connect would have been the big trade piece coming back from the Lakers to the Magic. Everyone in the league knows the Magic needs shooting, and that's something that Dalton can do. The only thing is after such a poor summer league, doesn't seem that anybody is really high on Dalton right now. So that this might be one of those type of trades that end up waiting to the trade deadline. I foresee the Magic being way more active in the trade deadline, this upcoming one. Everyone was frustrated about the last one, and no one, and them not doing anything, being one of a couple of teams that didn't do anything during the trade deadline. At the minimum, I think the Magic are going to try to get under the tax, so they will likely have to move Jet or Goga or somebody lower on the in the salary bit of the salary cap, just so that we're able to not start the repeater tax clauses that end up happening from the CBA. So I think that in the end is going to be the big thing that they're going to make sure that they don't do is be in the tax. So already during this upcoming tax the trade deadline, they're going to be already at least having one small trade just to get under the tax. But in this case here, if Dalton Connect comes in and just starts launching, they might end up wanting to keep him. But if not, then at least he has a better trade value so that if everything is going well with the Magic and everybody's been healthy and we might be able to have Goga be expendable, then this they might revisit this one a little later on, just to kind of jump into the numbers because you know me, I like numbers. Just to look at the just this the stats, the raw stats that they have. Goga, as we've already talked about in other videos, for me, Goga, I would start Goga to be honest. I understand Wendell's the benefit of Wendell, especially when Wendell's shooting the three. Obviously, that's something that we want for Paolo and Franz to definitely have as much space as possible. So I understand having Wendell, but I don't feel we really lose that much having Goga being the starter, and a lot of the advanced stats also go towards tip in the favor of Goga versus Wendell. Goga says he's going to shoot. He's going to be practicing more his 3 point shot. So we'll see. Maybe in EuroBasket, maybe when he's playing for the Georgian team, maybe he starts shooting a few threes here and there. But I would say that obviously is the thing that's holding Goga back. But Goga versus Dalton here. Goga 70 games, 7.2 points, 6.6 rebounds, 2 assists. Dalton 9.1 points, 2.8 rebounds, one less than an assist a game. Obviously, the big benefit here is if you want to stuff from the inside or stuff from the outside. Dalton, even though he didn't feel like he made much of an impact last year, he still shot 38% from three, which is something that the Magic would love. Now, where would Dalton fit in the on the bench unit? He would he now take Jace's minutes? Like, what would that entail? So I think that one is it's one of those that they might revisit later on, but I don't think that's something that the Magic would be comfortable doing. Another one of the trades regarding the Lakers and the Magic would be for Jonathan Isaac. So for me, there was again, it all goes around Dalton. So it's either Jonathan or having Goga go to the Lakers. And Jonathan is another one of those that obviously last year was one of his healthiest seasons in the league. He played 71 games, but the 3 point shot eluded him. And for the Lakers, in the article they talk about, the Lakers fit, it just really starts to it wanes just on their side. They don't they need the shooting. They would need him to be at least be able to be a competent shooter, even if it's not necessarily league average, but if he can get up to 33, 34% from three, at least keep people honest, then the defense is obviously going to be what shines when it comes to have JI end up on the Lakers. As you see, he had a bad year. He last off season he ended up getting bigger so that he can play a bit more of the backup five. In the end, weirdly, they did all that work. They planned, he got big, they bulked, and then in the end they didn't play him at the backup five. Even when Mo was out, it didn't feel like they were committed to that. So I don't really know who told him to gain all that weight so he can be the backup five, or I don't know if that was a plan, but whatever that plan was, it did not work. So in the end, he's shrinking back down from pictures we've seen already of him. He's gotten rid of the bulk so that hopefully he's able to have better stamina. He's able to go back to the defensive mastermind or the minister of defense that we expect from JI. Now, if that is what happens and we do a trade like this wouldn't necessarily I don't think it would work for the Magic just because if we're losing JI for Dalton, it does bring the threes like I was talking about in yesterday's video. We definitely need people to be able to shoot at all up and down the roster. Jonathan JI has shown that he can shoot, not at 38% really, but at least he's shown he can shoot. So I would take Jonathan over Dalton in that respect, just because the defense in a slimmer down version of JI, the defense is just definitely something that is way more way more beneficial for what we're trying to do as a team on there. And I'm just realizing, so yeah, and that is the rest of that trade. So for me, the Lakers trade you can take them with a grain of salt. All of this stuff you can take with a grain of salt. In the end, we're just trying to catch up a bit. For me, the Lakers are win now mode, which is what we're also in. So we're no longer a rebuilding team. We're no longer a retooling team. We're not a restructuring team. We're none of that stuff anymore. Now we're in it to win it. So I would say we would keep these two assets versus bringing in an unknown, even if you're not excited about what Goga brings, which is weird. The poor Goga is getting such slander against him. He's still the integral part of the the front court that we have at the moment, especially with Mo coming back from injury. So I would keep both of these, and hopefully they're not looking to do either one of these trades. Now the Suns have popped up as a potential trade. Obviously, earlier in the offseason when they still had Durant and they still had Bradley Beal, they were really trying to retool and trying to do a lot of things in the margins. Now they don't have either one of those guys on the team anymore, so now maybe it's free them up to do a little bit of a few more things. So In a hypothetical trade between the Magic and the Suns, this is the trade. It's the Magic get Nick Richards. He's a rim running center. And we would get 3 and D forward Royce O'Neal. The Suns would get Goga, as we talked about before, Jet, and Tristan De Silva. This would be a big haul for me. Obviously, a lot of people have a lot of discussions about Jet. That's understandable, and we've already talked about Goga earlier. But Tristan in this deal, I think, would be the thing that would take it a little too much from the Magic, or the Magic would be giving a little too much, because Goga and Nick Richardson, for me, it's kind of a wash, to be honest. I don't really see I don't see the upside in Nick Richardson, that he's at a level up here and Goga's at a level down here, that we have to be the one to overpay on there. So for me, I'm gonna have to pass, dog, as they would have said on American Idol back in the day. If you look at the numbers, obviously, again, I bring the numbers. Goga, Jet, and Tristan. These are their numbers from this past year as starters. Again, we've already seen Goga's numbers. Jet, I think in this deal for me, the the Jet throw-in obviously the the filler, let's say, from this trade. For me, it's more Goga and Tristan for Nick and Royce. So that's going to be, it'd be likely as a salary matching thing. I didn't dig into the salaries this time, but again, these are all hypothetical trades anyway. But Jet, if we look at Jet's numbers, he played 60 games, 4.5 points, 1.2 rebounds, and less than an assist a game, 37% from the field, and 30% from three. So that part is the big thing. And the reason so many people in the Magic Nation and the Magic fandom want to get rid of Jet is because he hasn't shown it yet. It's been 2 years. The first year was kind of a gap year in which he was at Osceola most of the time, but last year barely even showed flashes. And I think that's the bit that many people are like, "Wow, just get rid of him, just get rid of him, just get rid of him." He might end up being the casualty anyway when it comes to the trade deadline, like I mentioned before, for us to get under the salary cap. Excuse me, for us to get under the luxury tax. I think that's probably going to be the easy move for us to just move Jet so that we stay under the luxury tax. But hopefully we're able to get something of value. Hopefully he can come into the rotation and he's able to do things that we expected of him. He was supposed to be the shooter. We chose him over Grady Dick, or we chose him over Jordan Hawkins. There was all these guys that were in the draft that for whatever reason the Magic saw in Jet. I don't know if it's his size. At the time, we were just worried about size because definitely is not his defense necessarily. But if you watch him last year, he tries on defense. He's trying. He's just a lot of the times in not in the right place, and you can't offset the negative necessarily, or the neutrality of the defense with a positive offense. Like he just wasn't doing much of, at least again, what was expected of him. He was supposed to be the shooter. That's why we drafted him, to shoot. And but 30%, that's not cutting it. Now, for us bringing in Royce O'Neal, as you see, Royce O'Neal, 41% from three. He's a 3 and D veteran forward, 9.1 points per game, 4.7 rebounds, and 2.2 assists. That's the kind of guy we do need. Now, if we are just trading Jet for Royce, then of course we'll do that every day, all the time, whenever you need it. I can call it in now if you want. But because that's not the case, because we're also losing Tristan in the deal, I think that to me is when it starts to get a bit much, because I don't know if that's me just being too precious and me loving Tristan more than most, maybe, but I think that Tristan has still growth in him, that he's still going to be able to get better, and he's still going to be able to, it's the shot that we're missing. He shot a little bit better in his 2 games in the summer league. We'll see how things go if he gets run with Germany in Eurobasket. Let's see if his 3-point shot in competition in that type of an environment can translate, and it's gotten better. We'll see. But for me, I would hate to get rid of Tristan, Jet, and Goga, because really at this point, if we were to do a trade like this, then we really have no outs anymore other than trading Anthony Black. At this point, we would have putting all the chips into the center, and this is the team, and that's it. That's all. So I think that for me is kind of it's a trade that I don't think in the center position we're getting much better. We're not getting so much better that we would then start to go and be the ones that be the party to overpay for that to get off of money or to do anything like that because we're okay when it comes where the apron is where it is. We're already right at the first apron, one I think $1 million under it. So I think in the end, this one is interesting, and there are assets here that are interesting because Nick Richards, he's oft injured, so that would be the big concern. Goga has been the healthy one of the centers that we have on the team. Mo had been relatively healthy as well, but now with coming back from an ACL, we don't know how he's going to come back. And Wendell has had the injuries that he's had in his past. Now we signed a two-way deal, as you hopefully saw in my video yesterday, Orlando Robinson. So at least that adds a little bit of backup. But for us to do this deal, it would almost feel like we would be giving up way too much in the deal. So for me, that one's also a pass. Now to the guys we've been talking about forever and ever and ever and ever. So Malik Monk. So Malik Monk, if you would remember 2 years ago, the Magic were always talking about bringing him in, or there was always reports that the Magic were going to be trying to bring him in, and it just keeps on going. No matter what the Magic have done, it seems that they're still talking about Malik Monk. Now, Malik Monk, in this proposed trade, Malik Monk would come to the Magic, and the Kings would get Jonathan Jett and a 2027 first round pick. I don't believe we'd be able to do that pick because of the Stepien rule, which means that you can't trade your first round picks in consecutive years. And because of the Desmond Bain trade where we got rid of the 26 swap pick that we had and the 27, and then because we gave up the 28 as well, like there's so many of those that we ended up giving away. Ultimately, I don't think that part is it, but let's take that aside. If we were to just look at that now, a bench unit of Tyus Jones, Malik Monk, Anthony Black, Tristan da Silva, and Mo Wagner, when you look at that, that seems interesting. We would have the floor spacers in Monk and Jones. Anthony AB has gotten better with his shot, and hopefully Tristan has as well, and Mo. So if we had a bench unit that looked like that, now we're talking. Now we're definitely in the discussion for the top two, top three, if we're not already there in the East. I'd say that would be the biggest upgrade that we could look at. That's kind of a reasonable upgrade. We're going to talk about, as you see on the rundown, another name that's still been around, but I think that one is a bit more expensive, of course. So there, this is interesting. If we dig into the numbers, so again, Jonathan Jett, we already have those numbers. So, but if we're looking at Malik Monk's numbers, played 65 games last year, 17.2 points, 3.8 rebounds, and 5.6 assists. He ended up being the primary ball handler at different points. So he's primarily been off the bench, especially when De'Aaron Fox was on the Kings and the rest of their squad. Now he can do both. He can start. He can be a spot starter, or he can come off the bench, which is what he's done most of the past few years. Now, this I said he's a floor spacer. 33% is not great. 33% from three, I think, is one of his lower numbers in the past few years. So it's not super great, I'd say. His shooting. So it's one of those that we'd have to hope for a bounce back year on that. Now, this trade, this one is more I'm more in line with it because again, we're not getting rid of both Goga and Jonathan. Jet is just going to be in a deal. Jet is likely going to be off the team by the end of the year. It just kind of is what it is. It's the easiest thing to unplug. We would likely then just convert one of our two ways to a standard contract to get us back to 14 if we get rid of Jet during the trade deadline. So this one isn't horrible, Malik still signed for a couple years, if I remember correctly, off the top of my head. So in this respect, he would be. This one wouldn't be the worst one if we were to do one of the trades. I'd say that would be the. This would be the most ideal of it. And then again, we have a scorer, a 3 level scorer that can get into the paint, that can shoot. He's not super great at threes, but he can shoot. And if he has a good season, then the sky's the limit for us in that one. Last one, the Simons. Everyone wants Simons. We talk about it all the time. Obviously, as an Orlando Magic fan, we want him on the team because he's from here. That just is kind of the easy thing. Obviously, he has a scoring punch as well, but it just for what we would be getting, I think that would be the conundrum for this. So if you look at this, the trade is basically Isaac, Goga, and Tristan for Anthony Simons. Okay, so what does that do for us? That it really starts to eat at our front court depth by losing both Jonathan and Goga and Tristan. Like that, and I've already talked about Tristan before, and I've talked about the other three. So Jonathan, Goga, and Tristan. You know how I feel about that already from the last few minutes. Here are the numbers. So again, the numbers for Jonathan, Goga, and Tristan. That is what it is. Anthony Simons. Oh, I forgot to put how many games he played, but he played several several games. He had 19.3 points, 2.7 rebounds, 4.8 assists, 42% from the field, and 36% from three. That's the lowest of the last, I think, 5 years or so. So he's definitely someone that is proficient at three. Maybe just had an off year. Let's hope if we were to do this trade, then hopefully he comes in now. A bench unit of again Tyus, Anthony Simons, Anthony Black. Here we would give up Tristan, so I guess Noah would be the person to step in there. Noah, Penda, and then Mo. That's also interesting. 19.3 points a game. It's a lot, but that was him mostly as a starter. Now we don't know how that would translate to coming off the bench. The loss of defense, we'd be losing Goga and Jonathan and Tristan. That feels like a lot. That feels like an overpay to have Anthony Simons when at this point we brought in Desmond, we have Tyus. There's going to be organic growth. Hopefully that's the case. Now we could revisit this one as well because the this is for the Celtics to get even more favorable in their salary cap situation that they've been for several years. So I'm sure if Anthony is killing it this year, then maybe we can revisit this at a future time. But I think for me, this is too much as well. Again, I guess I'm too high on Tristan. I'm also high on Goga, to be honest. So to help a division rival, the Celtics, to be able to kind of clean up their sheet a bit more, feels like way too much of a gamble on our end, especially because we want to compete with them in future years. Maybe they're having a gap year this year, but next year with Jalen Brown, Derek White, J- Tatum, and then Tristan if he starts to do better things. I don't know. Like for me, that just feels like we're doing them way more of a favor than it's benefiting us. Especially because again, we don't know how his skill set is going to translate. He hasn't come off the bench in a few years now at this point. So he could be a fire starter off the bench. He could be somebody to really light it up. That is something that's possible, but I don't know. For me, that feels like way too much to be giving up. Again, I guess I'm just high on Tristan and Goga, but what do you guys think? I don't know. Again, like I said, feel free to put it down in the comments if you feel like I'm being too high on Tristan or if I want to keep Tristan too much and I'm overlooking all the things that Anthony Simons or Malik Monk or Royce O'Neal or Nick Richards or all these other guys can bring. Please throw it down in the comments and just let me know what you're thinking and how you would change those trades so that we're able to still get some of the assets, but also not unload a lot of the core that's been built over the course of this offseason. So that's that. I think we're pretty caught up on a lot of the trade rumors from the past week or so. So again, put something in the comments. Just let me know what you think about these and any other trade offers that you've heard, or trade rumors you've heard. Again, feel free also to put any information like your location or when you started becoming a Magic fan, anything like that. Moving forward, like as I mentioned, I'm going to be looking to do different types of content on this channel. Like I might do a reaction video. I'm going to do a long form video series on the history of the Magic. These are things that I'm going to be practicing on because again, I'm real new to all this, as you can tell. But if you continue to stay subscribed and follow along on the journey with me, then you're going to be able to hopefully see some pretty cool stuff. So I appreciate you very much again for clicking on this. Click subscribe so you don't miss anything. And I'm hoping you have a great day.